Hello, freedom seekers. Jeremy Chambers, Independence Acres Homestead. It is a little bit of a rainy, dreary day. The weather's been kind of backwards. It's like we had our summer earlier this year, and now in July it's spring. Cooler weather and rain. So just like the weather's been a little backwards, so is cold and flu season. It's strange. For like 2.5 years, I have not had a cold, and then we just got hit, or the whole family did, with a cold this last week, and it has been rough. Head congestion, a lot of coughing, a lot of congestion, and just about over it. And it's time to go outside and see what we can find that might help us heal a little faster. So one of the things we've really been working on this year is trying to identify as many of the plants in our yard that we already grow, or ones that are growing wild that can be a benefit to our health. A lot of people will use this like a herbal apothecary or stuff of that nature. And one of the plants that we have been growing mostly as a pollinator in our garden, come to find out, could be very beneficial for us this weekend as we are recovering from this head cold and chest congestion. One of the things that I've been dealing with in the last few days is just a lot of congestion in my chest, rattling, rumbling as I'm breathing, coughing up, phlegm, stuff like that. I know it's a little disturbing, but maybe a little too much information. But honestly, this is what we've got going on here. And so I was looking up some of the plants that we have, in our garden, trying to really figure out what we can use. And one of the ones in our pollinator bed here is Borage. And it is actually a very pretty plant, also known as the star flower. And okay, so one thing you'll notice is there's a lot of weeds here in our pollinator bed, but also I've got these big PVC pipes, and this was basically just to keep the chickens from digging around in this bed so that these plants could actually grow. And I actually did not plant the borage this year. It reseeded, and it's kind of taken over this bed, which I'm happy with now, especially after figuring out the additional benefits that it has. So the borage itself is, from a little reading and some videos that we've watched online, it's has culinary uses. And they say that the young leaves, even though they're kind of spiny, that they have a texture, they have a very cucumber-like flavor. So let's give this a try. It's kind of spiny, so I'm hoping that it doesn't. Wow. It's just like a cucumber. More like the skin of a cucumber, though. It's an interesting texture, though. All right, and get a young leaf, Luke.
This is young.
So also to find out, the flowers themselves are edible. And I feel bad kind of picking.
It does have the flavor of cucumber.
Yeah, what do you think, Luke?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering I like
All right,
cucumber.
but the main reason why we're out here is because also, as I was reading up on this particular herb, is that it's got properties in it that will help as an expectorant. So it's going to kind of loosen up the phlegm in my chest and hopefully help me get this stuff out so that I can get over this a little faster. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to pick a couple leaves, and unlike a lot of the other herbs that we have identified in our yard, such as yarrow, this it's supposed to be used fresh in order to get the most effect from its medicinal properties. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick a handful of leaves here, go inside, chop it up, and make a tea. All right. So I think for the teas, we can get like the middle size leaves, something a little bigger than that. But let's make sure we don't pick so many that we're going to kill the plant. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Right. And just for pretty, let's pick a couple flowers too.
Okay.
All right.
One fell. There's one.
All right. All right, we got a lot of smartweed over here, but the borage has been grown in the smartweed. So we're going to go ahead and pick some of these borage leaves here. Let's get like, I don't know, 8, 10 leaves. How many do you have?
I got like 5 right now.
I've got 6. So, all right, I think we've harvested enough leaves and flowers. Let's go make some tea. as with everything, always make sure that you double check a reliable source to identify the plants that you're going to be using, whether it's a wild edible or even something that was planted as not necessarily as an edible in your garden. I've double checked and triple checked. I made sure these are borage plants. So we've got our leaves and flowers here. We're going to go ahead and soak them in some water for a minute or two, and then give them a good rinse and put them out on a towel here to dry. While the leaves and flowers are drying from their quick rinse, let's get some water boiling. We're gonna go ahead and get some water out of our Berkey. And if you don't know what my Berkey is, check out this video. Teapot's ready. Water's boiling. Leaves are somewhat dry. Let's get everything chopped up and get it into the tea steeper. It smells very cucumbery.
I can smell it from here. I think we got more than enough leaves.
That should be good. And I'm not going to cut up the flowers because they just look so pretty as they are. So pretty as they are. All right, let's get the
It sounds like the teapot's about to whistle.
steeper packed full of these borage leaves. Put the flowers in there. There you go.
How many's the flower?
Nope, last one. There you go. All right, so the tea's been steeping for 5 minutes. Let's get some poured into a cup, add a little bit of honey, see what it tastes like. Some local honey from a nearby apiary. Not too much, just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Let's give it a stir. It's got a beautiful color to this tea. Looks a lot like a jasmine tea in its color. You gonna wait for me to get some first, Luke?
Nope.
All right, moment of truth. Now, honestly, I have no clue what this should taste like. It smells like a cucumber. It's like cucumber tea. It tastes like cucumber tea. It's not bad. So we'll give this a try, and hopefully this lives up to its historical medicinal properties in helping to relieve some of this congestion that we're all dealing with. All right, guys, down the hatch. Thanks so much for joining us today. So stay tuned so we can give you a report on how this worked for us within the next week here. And we're also going to be talking about identifying and using some other wild medicinals that we find out on our property. Thank you so much. And as always, God bless.
The plain ones are over here, John.
Cheers
To hell.
to health.
To hell.
Well, that's not.
Yeah, it's a little warm. What do you think?
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Cucumber.